Death remains for ordinary consciousness as the great abyss, the final silence where all voices cease and all colors fade. However, for spiritual science, for the initiated gaze that penetrates the veils of sensible existence, what we call death is not an end, but a solemn retreat, a stripping away of the densest garments so that the true actor in the cosmic play may breathe the atmosphere of his true homeland. Rudolf Steiner, the initiator of anthroposophy, does not offer us conjectures or sentimental religious consolations. He offers us the hidden anatomy of the threshold, and the truths he reveals are, for the unprepared soul, brutal. They destroy the illusion that death is an eternal sleep or an erasure of consciousness. On the contrary, death is a violent awakening to a reality where nothing is hidden, where thought is action, and where desire is a consuming fire. To understand the 7 fundamental truths about this transition, we need to silence the noise of materialism that tells us we are nothing but flesh and chemistry. The first brutal truth we face upon crossing the threshold is that of the uninterrupted and amplified continuity of consciousness, accompanied by the painful separation of the constituent members of the human being. At the precise moment when the physical heart ceases its rhythm and the brain silences its synapses, a colossal event occurs in the invisible worlds, the disconnection of the etheric body, the astral body, and the organization of the self from the physical envelope. To the external observer, there is an inert corpse. To the dead, there is an explosion of light and memory. Man does not lose consciousness. He only loses the instrument that limited that consciousness to time and 3-dimensional space. The etheric body, that fabric of vital forces that kept the physical form cohesive against natural disintegration, is liberated. And in this liberation, it floods the being with the totality of memory. This is the second inexorable truth, the great panorama of life. During the days immediately following physical death, generally a period of 3.5 days corresponding to the time the individual could remain awake in physical life without collapsing, the human being lives in a kind of expanded time. Steiner describes this state not as a succession of events but as a simultaneous picture. Imagine a gigantic painting where every moment, every breath, every encounter, every secret thought of your entire life is present before you, not in sequence, but all at once, with crystal clarity. Life doesn't pass before your eyes. It is before your eyes. The etheric body, now freed from the heavy task of maintaining the physical body, pours its contents into the astral body. It is an experience of profound peace, but also of relentless objectivity. There is no moral judgment yet, only the contemplation of the tapestry we have woven. We see the hidden connections. We see how an event in childhood generated a consequence in adulthood. It is the architect's vision, observing the complete structure of the building that has just collapsed. The being feels itself expanding as if occupying the space of the entire planetary horizon, feeling a cold and luminous connection with the cosmos. However, this panoramic phase is brief, and its end marks the beginning of the true ordeal, the entry into the region that Eastern wisdom called Kamaloca, the place of desires, and which Steiner describes with the precision of a spiritual cartographer. Herein lies the third brutal truth. The death of the physical body does not kill desire. It only eliminates the tool to satisfy it. This is of terrible importance. During incarnate life, the astral body and the ego are intertwined with the physical body. When we feel hunger, we eat. When we have a sensual desire, we seek touch. When we want the comfort of a substance, we consume. Pleasure is the momentary extinction of a desire through the physical organ. But when death discards the physical body, and soon after the panorama, The etheric body also dissolves and is delivered to the cosmic ether, leaving only an extract, a memorial essence. The human being is left only with his astral body and his ego. The astral body is the bearer of all our appetites, passions, sympathies, and antipathies. It does not die with the body. On the contrary, without the weight of matter to cushion it, it becomes more voracious. Let us imagine, as Steiner often illustrated, a man addicted to the pleasures of the table, a gourmet, or someone addicted to alcohol. The desire for alcohol is not in the stomach, it is in the soul, in the astral body. When he dies, the stomach disappears, but the desire remains intact, burning with redoubled fury because there is no longer the physical counterpart to quench it. It is like having a devouring thirst in the middle of a desert without water, without a mouth to drink and without a throat to swallow. The dead person feels the desire like a fire that burns him, a deprivation that is not theoretical, but a substantial reality in the world of the soul. This purification phase, or Kamaloca, has the function of burning away desires that can only be satisfied through the physical senses. Human beings must learn, through fervent deprivation, to break free from earthly existence. They must purge everything that binds them to matter in order to ascend to the higher spheres of the spiritual world. Devachan. This purification is not a punishment imposed by a vengeful God. It is a natural law, as inevitable as gravity. It is the soul purifying itself, freeing itself from the impurities that would prevent it from ascending. Steiner warns us that the materialism in which we live today makes this phase particularly difficult. He who dies believing that nothing exists beyond matter, he who has linked his entire sense of identity to possessions, reputation, or sensory pleasures, finds himself in an isolating darkness. He desperately seeks contact with the physical world, but this is denied to him. He sees the living, but the living do not see him, and he cannot interact with the density he so desires. It is a solitude populated only by his own unresolved desires, which now take on grotesque and visible forms around him. Moving on to the fourth truth, we enter the most disturbing and educational aspect of Kamaloca, the inversion of time and the experience of another's pain. Steiner explains that, in the spiritual world, time flows backward. After the initial panorama, we begin to relive our lives from the moment of death to birth, but we don't experience it as the subjective memory we have on Earth. We experience the objective reality of our actions, and most brutally, we experience what we cause to others, not what we feel. If, at 30 years old, I uttered a cruel word to a friend driven by anger, in earthly life I felt the satisfaction of my anger, or perhaps a slight remorse. In Kamaloca, upon reaching this point in the reverse flow of time, I don't feel my anger. I enter my friend's soul. I feel, with an intensity multiplied by the absence of the cushioning body, the exact pain that my word caused him. I become the victim of myself. This experience is total and inescapable. No rationalization, no excuse of "I didn't mean to" survives in the astral world. The truth of the other's feeling becomes my own truth. The murderer, reliving his crime, does not feel the power of the act, but the terror and pain of the victim, as well as the desolation of the family he left behind. It is a purifying fire that consumes selfishness. The soul learns, through the direct experience of the pain it inflicted, that we are in essence one with humanity. This phase lasts approximately 1/3 of the time of the life that was lived, the time we spend sleeping, for it is in sleep that the astral body breathes in the spiritual world, and now that time is consciously recovered. It is a painful process of rectification, where every edge of our selfishness is sanded down by friction with the moral reality of the universe. Here Steiner's figure stands as a stern but necessary guide, pointing out that the intensity of this experience depends entirely on our attachment to earth. For the soul that has cultivated love, compassion, and interest in the spirit, Kamaloca is a brief passage, a quick cleansing of the dust of the road. For the soul hardened in selfishness and materialism, it is a long and agonizing period of retention. And there is an even deeper mystery that occurs simultaneously with this moral experience. While the soul relives its relationships and purges its desires, it is also dismantling the form of the astral body. Everything that was built on errors, lies, and base passions must be left behind. We cannot take anything that is not spiritual essence to the higher spheres of Devachan. This is what the scriptures call the second death. Just as the physical body was left on earth and the etheric body was dissolved into the ether, the astral body, with its corruptions, must be left in the lower astral world, leaving only the eternal core of the self, clothed in what Steiner calls the fruit of life, the distilled essence of love and wisdom that we have acquired. As the script of life unfolds backward, leading us to childhood and finally to the moment of birth, the soul sheds its last shell of earthly desire. It becomes pure again, regaining innocence, but now a wise innocence forged in the fire of experience. The human being is ready to leave the realm of the soul, the lunar world, and enter the realm of the spirit, the solar or stellar world. But before that, there is a final confrontation, often described as the encounter with the guardian of the threshold. The soul sees before it the sum of all its imperfections, everything that is still lacking to become a complete and divine human being. It sees its karma not as a blind destiny, but as a debt of love that must be paid, an imbalance that it itself created, and that it itself must correct. Then arises, not fear, but an iron will, born of profound knowledge, to return to earth, not for the desire for pleasure, but for the need for rectification and evolution. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Before the return, there is ecstasy. After the end of Kamaloca, the consciousness of the disembodied spirit expands into a reality where light does not come from outside, but radiates from within all things. He enters Devachan, the mental world or world of the spirit. Here, the fifth truth manifests itself. The celestial environment is not a place of static rest, but of intense creative work. Steiner describes this region as a world of music of the spheres, where the laws governing creation are exposed as living harmonies. The human being is no longer separate from the cosmos. He is an integral part of the divine hierarchy. In this sphere, we find the archetypes of all things that exist on earth. What is a stone here is a spiritual thought there. What is a plant here is a song of growth there. The disembodied meet with the souls of those they loved, but not in a limited human form, but as beings of light and color, permeable to one another. Communication is no longer through words which conceal as much as they reveal, but through the fusion of essences. We understand the other by entering into them. It is an absolute communion. However, even here the brutal truth of our evolution persists. Spiritual blindness on earth results in blindness in heaven. Steiner is emphatic. We can only perceive in the spiritual world that for which we have developed organs of perception during earthly life or in past lives. He who has denied the spirit on earth, who has atrophied his capacity for reverence and wonder, may find himself blind to the majesties of devotion, perceiving it as emptiness or darkness, until the seed of a new will to see germinates within him. We continue our journey where earthly silence becomes the music of the spheres. If the crossing of Kamaloca was the purification by fire of unsatisfied desire, the entry into the spiritual world, or Devachan, is the awakening to the architecture of light. Here, the brutal fifth truth reveals itself in all its magnitude. The physical world is merely a coagulated shadow of the spiritual world, and what we call reality on earth is, in fact, a dream. In Devachan, the human being does not walk on the ground. He floats in an ocean of living wisdom. The laws of nature that scientists discover on Earth as abstract formulas are here, living beings. Gravity is not a force, it is the thought of an angel. The growth of a plant is not a chemical process, it is the breath of a nature spirit. In this region, man ceases to be a creature and becomes a creator. He does not rest in beatific inactivity, he works. And his work is to collaborate in weaving the future. Everything that will exist on Earth, the landscapes, the new species, the social configurations, is first dreamed and shaped here by the souls of the dead in conjunction with the higher hierarchies. Steiner describes this phase as a complete inversion of perception. On Earth, we see the exterior of things and deduce the interior. In Devachan, we are the interior of things. We merge with the object of our knowledge. If we want to understand a rock, we become the mineral consciousness. If we want to understand an enemy, we become his pain and his motivation. It is the final eradication of separation. And so, we arrive at the central point, the climax of existence between death and rebirth, the moment Steiner calls the cosmic midnight. This is the sixth truth, and perhaps the most difficult to bear for the modern ego addicted to its own preservation. At the cosmic midnight, the human being reaches the point of maximum distance from earthly life and maximum proximity to the divine spirit. It is the solstice of the soul. Here, man finds himself stripped of everything that was human in the earthly sense. Neither man nor woman, neither rich nor poor, neither wise nor foolish. He is a pure starseed. At this peak of light, a fundamental transformation of the will occurs.
While in the first half of the journey from Kamaloca to here, the gaze was turned towards the past, towards settling accounts from the previous life, now the gaze turns to the future. A strange and powerful hunger arises, not the hunger for pleasure, but the hunger for destiny.
The soul contemplates the imperfections it still carries, the dissonances it introduced into the harmony of the universe through its past actions, and realizes that there is only one place where these dissonances can be resolved: Earth. The spiritual world is too perfect. There is no resistance there, and without resistance there is no evolution. Love in heaven is easy. Love on earth against selfishness and matter is what forges gods. Thus is born the voluntary and terrible decision to return. And here comes the seventh and final brutal truth. We choose our suffering. From the perspective of the cosmic midnight, illness, betrayal, poverty, and hardship do not appear as misfortunes to be avoided, but as necessary tools, surgically chosen by the soul itself to correct specific deviations. The human being, aided by entities of sublime wisdom, sketches the outline of their next life. They do not choose the trivial details, but the great encounters, the great obstacles, and the configuration of their own body. The descent begins. Time accelerates again towards matter. The human being, now a spirit eager to incarnate, begins to gather the materials for his new garment. He traverses the planetary spheres once more, but now collecting substance. From the fixed stars, he brings the configuration of his skull and senses. From the planets, he gathers the forces for his organs. He builds a new astral body, woven with the sympathies and antipathies necessary to fulfill his destiny. If he needs to learn patience, he will attract to his astral body the forces that will place him in situations of waiting and frustration. If he needs to learn courage, he will attract fear as an initial companion so that he can overcome it. Further down, it draws in cosmic ether to form its new etheric body, the mold of its vitality. And finally, the most mysterious choice of all occurs, the choice of parents. Steiner is categorical in stating that we are not born into a family by chance. From the spiritual world, we see human generations as rivers of colored light, and we are drawn to that specific couple that offers us the exact genetic combination and social environment for the challenges we need to face. Often, we love our parents before birth with an intensity that we forget upon incarnation. Even the difficult father, or the absent mother, were hired by our higher soul to provide us with the necessary resilience for our growth. The moment of conception approaches. The spirit hovers over the chosen couple. The vast and luminous cosmic consciousness begins to dim. It is the twilight of the gods for the individual soul. The veil of forgetfulness is woven. This is a divine mercy. For if we remembered the full weight of our past and the magnitude of the task ahead, we would be crushed before even taking the first step. We need to forget who we were to be free to become who we must be. The physical body is formed in the mother's womb, a microcosm that mirrors the macrocosm, and at the moment of the first breath, the spirit definitively unites with the flesh. The sky closes. The cry of the newborn is the lament of the exile who has arrived in a strange land, but also the war cry of the warrior entering the arena. Death, therefore, is neither the end nor the opposite of life. Death is the life of the spirit, just as physical life is the sleep of the spirit. We are at this very moment, as we listen to these words, dead to the spiritual world so that we may be alive here. And one day, we will die here to awaken there. Rudolf Steiner invites us not to fear death, but to die while alive, to overcome our selfishness, to see the spirit in matter, to love with the selflessness of one who knows that we are all eternal travelers. The brutality of these truths lies only in the death of our illusions. For the awakened man, they are the purest freedom. We are not leaves in the wind. We are the wind. We are the architects of our pain and the sculptors of our glory. The question is not what will happen when you die, but rather, who will you be when the mask falls? If these truths resonated deep within your soul, if you felt the shiver of recognition before the mystery of the threshold, then your journey has only just begun. Don't let this knowledge fall asleep again. Subscribe to the channel, activate notifications, and leave your like, or we will continue to tear away the veils of reality, bringing hidden wisdom into the light of day. Comment below, I am eternal, and join those who dare to look beyond the abyss until the next awakening.